I think the shit we couldn't make up of the year happened this week in Toronto as the Tampa Bay Rays were playing the Blue Jays, and there was a collision at the plate between Kevin Kiermaier and Alejandro Kirk, uh, where Kiermaier was actually called out at the plate, and Kirk got up and got out of it was an inning ending play at the plate, and Kiermaier was laying at home plate, kind of sulking in his being called out. Maybe it wasn't a violent collision, but there was a bit of a collision there, enough to dislodge the player scouting list that every catcher now carries on him in his wristband or wherever they happen to have it. They happened to fall out in this melee, and Alejandro Kirk did not notice that, got up and ran to the dugout. Kevin Kiermaier did notice it as it was laying basically in his lap, quietly grabbed it and ran to the dugout. And these lists are basically the scouting report, are basically how they plan to pitch each of the Rays hitters. So it's some valuable contraband, really. Just kind of bizarre that Kiermaier picked it up and took it back with him to the dugout. Where it gets really bizarre is Kirk, obviously realized pretty quickly that he didn't have his scout sheet with him, and the Blue Jays sent their bat boy to the opposing dugout to retrieve this piece of espionage, essentially, and which I thought was kind of a strange move for such a valuable thing, that just send your 12-year-old bat boy over there. Hey, can you give me back that piece of paper? The Rays refused to give the information back, which was kind of bizarre in and of itself. Apparently this really irritated and upset the Blue Jays to the point where there was a lot of consternation. There's a lot of post-game back and forth. They did eventually get their sheet back, but the Rays could have photocopied it or whatever, gotten all the information from the Blue Jays that they wanted. But it got to the point where the next game, Kevin Kiermaier was plunked on the first pitch. And that might be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life, that you threaten someone's life with a baseball. Mind you, it wasn't a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at his head, but it was still a projectile at another human being because he picked up a piece of paper that you left on the fucking ground. It's just a bizarre baseball incident. It's a symptom of where we are today with scouting reports, and that catchers, it's so complex that catchers can't even remember this shit. They have to write it down and keep it with them. But I think they need to figure out a way to keep it more securely on their person and not have these situations arise. But in every level of how this was handled by both clubs was so immature and so ridiculous, to the point where someone was hit by a baseball over it. I really could have made them assholes of the week, but we have an even better one for that. So I don't know. Did you see anything about that?
I did not see any of that.
Oh, wow.
My question is, did the umps immediately warn the benches after the initial plunking?
I didn't see anything. That there was a benches clearing incident after he was hit. It was the most half-assed benches clearing ever. I think the incident is basically over with now, because nobody was upset when they came out. They really, it was the half-assed benches clearing, most half-assed thing you've ever seen, because everyone, I think, was kind of embarrassed about the situation. But you're obliged to go out on the field when your teammates do, and it's just like, what are we doing out here? The only person that was really pissed off was still the Toronto's pitching coach, because it was all his information that was stolen. So he was freaking out on the field. But for a coach to be instigating these things is ridiculous. So I think the incident is over and behind us, but it will live in infamy, as we've talked about it. Just stupid. It's the craziest thing is it's between two playoff contenders. So they shouldn't be fucking around with stupid shit like this that could potentially lead to, suspensions or injuries or whatever. So I think I'm hoping cooler heads prevail and they get beyond this. But unreal. Only this shit could only happen in baseball, and this kind of reaction is so typically childish of baseball players. It's hilarious. So shit I couldn't make up for sure.